Congressman Eric Burlison back with us, representing Missouri's 7th Congressional District. He's also a member of the House Oversight Committee. Congressman, thanks for the time today, and we appreciate you being here with us.
Hey, Annie. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. So where are you spending the government shutdown? Are you in district? Are you at the Capitol? How are you spending this time where government has not been open?
Yeah, I've had to go to the Capitol for a few meetings that I, didn't want to put off. Some important meetings that I finally was able to get, and so I've done that. But outside of that, I try to stay as much in my district as possible because it's good for my sanity, and then B, it's really, I think it's important that I'm be able to continue those relationships, go to the meetings, go to the clubs, the community events, and be able to reconnect with the people that I represent. And so it's been actually for me a good experience. I really feel bad for the workers who are not getting paid. It's a horrible thing that the Democrats are putting us through. We're the adults in the room. Mm-hmm. Republicans are the ones that said, let's just, instead of having this fight about what we're going to spend money on, let's just continue the current spending levels, the same ones that you guys passed several months ago. And they're the ones that are thumbing their nose at this. And at the end of the day, they're the ones harming the federal workers and the American people because they've got a ridiculous list of demands.
So we're speaking with Congressman Eric Burlison right now. And, I think you and I talked maybe very close to when the government shut down, maybe just a day or two into it. And you were saying that a lot of people in your district, they're really not bothered by the government shutdown. They don't like the way the government's spending money to begin with. So there was an initial thought. I know from a lot of listeners to our show too, that like the government shutdown is not the worst thing that could happen, but we're 33, 34 days into this thing now. And, we understand that SNAP benefits have not been paid out. Now there's an argument going back and forth with the courts on that. We know our military is doing their job and we need to make sure that they get paid as well. It's affecting more people. I'm curious if you feel as though the people in Missouri's 7th Congressional District are changing their mind or their tune on this at all this far in.
Annie, we've been really surprised and encouraged by the district because everywhere I go, the people continually say, keep it up. Don't give in to the ridiculous demands of the Democrats. So it just gives me the confidence to know that my district is with me. And I think that, it's true. A lot of the things that most people experience have not been impacted. So most people don't even notice that there's a shutdown. But it doesn't mean that there is harm that isn't being done. The people that are employed, the TSA workers, the air traffic controllers, our military personnel, to me, it's not appropriate that we're not going to fund their salaries.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm reading a comment here from somebody watching us on the YouTube live broadcast from Laura. She said, my husband is working, but we've missed 2 full paychecks and a third of his paycheck at the beginning of October. For those people who are working and not being paid right now, I would assume that there will be back pay whenever the government reopens again. Is that what you anticipate happening for people who are normally federally compensated for their work? Will they get their back pay?
Yeah, absolutely. They will get their back pay. And I know a lot of the staff, I know the Federal Credit Union, which is a credit union that's available to federal workers, they provide a service where they're able to provide these loans to the amount of what your paycheck would have been at a very, very minimal cost. And so that's horrible that people would have to take that step, but at least there's comfort in knowing that there's services available.
Congressman Burlison speaking with us right now. My understanding is that folks in Congress still do get a check during this time. Is that correct?
The Constitution requires that we are paid.
Can you speak to that?
Even if you, when you hear people that say, I'm rejecting my salary. Well, you're not rejecting your salary. You're basically paying all of your taxes, in that time period.
Mhm.
So it's kind of a false thing to say that. It's so yeah, but that's unfortunately, and I would love to change that, Annie. I think that if Congress doesn't not only keep the government open, but if they don't pass a balanced budget, I think that our salaries should be diminished.
Yeah.
I don't, I think there's got to be some kind of motivating factor to kind of bring this place into fiscal sanity.
You're a member of the Freedom Caucus as well, Congressman Eric Burlison, with us right now. You've spoken very consistently about reining in spending and a lot of the compromises that have had to been made, maybe with the big beautiful bill on fiscal needs. I always hear you asking for more responsibility in fiscal conservatism in the way that you represent the 7th District in Congress. The big issue, the main issue, at least, that the Democrats seem to be leading on, pushing back and keeping the government shut down, are the extension of subsidies to make healthcare affordable for people who are going to see those premiums skyrocket here shortly. Um, is there a Republican, at least even conceptually, is there a Republican answer for the Affordable Care Act to make healthcare affordable and good in
Abs-
the United States?
Absolutely. How much time have we got? Because
Well, I'm here till 3 and I can ask Mark Rudin to
uh,
join us. So
okay. So this is a topic I'm very passionate about. I worked in as a healthcare IT consultant for
mm,
20 plus years, and have seen everything. Like when you're kind of an objective observer, and you're able to see the waste and that occurs within the healthcare system, where there's opportunities for improvement. And so I'll tell you, Obamacare is a total disaster. It's designed to almost make it like a restaurant that you go to, where no one cares about what the bill is because somebody else is paying. So if you go with a group of friends to a restaurant and the waiter comes by and says, "Hey, some anonymous donor is paying for whatever the price of the meal is," then no one at the table is worried about the price on the menu. They will over order. There will probably be much more food bought than needed to be there. And the waiter has every incentive in the world to continue to bring out everything that they possibly can
mm,
because they get 15%. And in this analogy, insurance companies are the waiter. Insurance companies are allowed to charge 15%. So why would when they passed this, they moved insurance companies from being in the profit motive of trying to drive down healthcare costs to joining the healthcare industry in jacking up the costs. And the American people are the ones that are paying the bill, and something has to give. That's why these tax credits that the Democrats want to extend are really, it's money that's going to the insurance carriers. It has almost no impact on people's premiums. So if anything, we're throwing almost $500 million. No, sorry, $500 billion is what it would cost. $500 billion to continue these, COVID era subsidies for a program that is a complete disaster. And the free market solution, Annie, is something that I'm putting forward to create a better opportunity where people purchase their health insurance on their own. So you would have an account, you can pick whatever insurance policy you want, you go out on the market and shop, just like you do with your car insurance. And your employer, rather than doing an employer sponsored plan, can write a check into your account and fund the whatever insurance policy that you want. Like
mm.
if you want a policy with Blue Cross and that includes your network, maybe your network is a BJC
That would make
and you
you
want
be
that.
able to choose your doctor.
Yes, you can choose your doctor. You can choose the pharmacies that you go to. Choose your PB. If you want a PBM, you can pick a PBM. If you don't like that, you won't have to do that. If you want to do a Medishare program, you can do Medishare. If you want to join an association plan, it would suddenly free open the market, and people would be able to shop and find the insurance product that meets their personal needs, as opposed to what the employer does, which finds a one size fits all solution for employees. This plan would allow for people, maybe if you're not employed or you're self-employed, you should be able to get the same tax deductions. Put money into a plan, purchase your insurance, and then, Annie, this is the beautiful part. All money that's not utilized in these would automatically become health savings accounts.
Oh,
So it would be growing interest free. You can use those funds on things like, direct primary care, co-pays, deductibles. Imagine right now you don't get a tax deduction for your co-pays or your high deductibles. But what if you could?
yeah.
And that's the free market solution that I think we've all been looking for.
Another thing that I'm thinking about, and I always I see on parallel paths the healthcare system, the way it's set up right now, and then also the higher education system where the federal government subsidizes to the point where the free market doesn't really compete because in both instances you're almost guaranteeing clients or customers of the American people. And when the Affordable Care Act guaranteed insurance companies that everybody was going to be a customer, that takes away the incentive for healthcare companies to say, well, I want the most customers over here, so I'm going to offer X benefits. But in the midst of
That's
all of
right.
this, at the same time, when you're guaranteeing coverage for medical procedures in both the instance of healthcare, the cost of care, the cost to have a baby, the cost to have a surgery, the cost to have cancer treatments, there's not a real significant element in the whole structure that makes those costs A have to make any sense to me, or B have to be competitive. And the same goes with our higher education system where, if every 18-year-old can sign a loan document for X amount of money and we can fund the education, at a six-figure school so that you can have a liberal studies degree, there's no
Hmm.
sense to it. Then why would the cost of education ever come down to a more reasonable place? There's no free market competition to actually make it affordable for the customer. It just makes it profitable for the entities that the government is subsidizing.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, the university racket, they're being subsidized in multiple ways. They're getting checks from their state. If it's a state-funded school, right? You've got subsidies for any of the loans that through the federal government. In fact, all of them are now federal loans. The individual um, um, gets the tax deduction, which does kind of perverse the market as well. So the whole thing is highly subsidized, and all it does, the bigger the government, the more the government gets involved in an industry, eventually what the only thing that can afford that industry is government. And that's the market that we have both in the university system and in our healthcare system.
Mm. Well, Congressman Burleson, I'm happy to hear that you are energized about this because I would like to continue this conversation as we work through whatever ends up happening with the government shutdown, whatever the Democrats end up continuing to hold hostage, or if Republicans decide to capitulate in some way. The insurance conversation, the healthcare conversation is going to be at the forefront. And we look forward to talking to you about it again very soon.
Yeah, anytime. Somebody has to kind of lead and put the policy forward, and that's what we're looking to do is be that policy nerd. And Dr. Bob Onder is going to be a great ally in that as well.
Yes, certainly. We'll also get back to you on the auto pen situation. That's a big story as well. We didn't have time for it today. Congressman Burleson, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you, Annie.
Talk to you soon. Bye bye.